Hi everyone! Today I get to return to another band that I have listened to once before, and that is Guns N' Roses. In that first listen, I was listening to November Rain, and it was a very, very nice experience. Today I'm listening to Sweet Child of Mine. This name sounds so familiar, so natural, so idiomatic to the English language, especially here in the South. Sweet child of mine. I can just imagine somebody sitting on a porch patting a little child on the head. Sweet child of mine. And so it puts an idea in my head already before I'm listening to it. I have no idea if that will match anything that I hear, but that's what I get in my imagination when I hear that title. Sweet Child of Mine is a song by American rock band Guns N' Roses, released on their debut studio album, Appetite for Destruction. Ooh, quite a title. 1987. In the United States, the song was released in 1988 as the album's first single, topping the US Billboard Hot 100 chart and becoming the band's only US #1 single. In the United Kingdom, the song was released in August 1988. Reaching number 24 on the UK singles chart the same month. Re-released there in May 1989, it peaked at number 6. Sweet Child of Mine placed number 37 on Guitar World's list of the 100 greatest guitar solos. Ooh, there's a guitar solo to pay attention to. It also came in at number 3 on Blender's 500 greatest songs since you were born. Well, which generation is that, I wonder? And at number 198 on Rolling Stone's The 500 Greatest Songs of All Time in 2015 and 88th in the 2021 list. The song has sold 2,609,000 digital copies in the United States as of March 2012. Guitarist Slash said in 1990, "The song turned into a huge hit, and now it makes me sick. I mean, I like it, but I hate what it represents." Well, for me to know what he's talking about, I guess I need to hear it. I'm listening to this, I'm listening to the music, I'm listening to the angularity of the guitar riff, I'm listening to the voice, and I'm thinking of this in terms of what's being expressed in the lyrics, and I started down this thought pathway of how the music and the voice especially contributes to how we perceive the song. If I were reading these lyrics separate from the music, I would imagine a little 3, 4, 5-year-old girl, still with a baby face, pink cheeks, blonde curly hair, come trotting out of the house. You're sitting in the rocking chair on the front porch. The porch is made of weathered wood slats. It's putting this image in my mind, the lyrics alone, right? And if I were to think of making a musical expression of that picture, I think I'm not alone when I say that perhaps the first thing that would come to mind would be how to create music that would somehow encapsulate and distill this beautiful angel face in front of us. How would I describe this face, a smile, where everything is as fresh as the bright blue sky? It reminds me of childhood memories. When I see her face, she takes me away to that special place. And if I stared too long, I might break down. I'd probably break down and cry. She's got the eyes of the bluest sky, as if they thought of rain. Her hair reminds me of a warm... you start thinking how to build a picture of this that I'm trying to describe in words. That's not what this music is doing. It's not describing this beautiful child or a person. It wouldn't even have to be a child. It could be someone you're falling in love with that somehow reminds you of all those wonderful things of your childhood. It's not painting a portrait. Instead, this voice is expressing that sweet pain we feel when we see something like that, when we see an image like that. And sweet child of mine, sweet love of mine, it's the feeling of, if I stared too long, I'd probably break down and cry. It is not a portrait of another. It is an expression of what I feel within myself when I see this in front of me. And I love that. I love the way in which the music is telling us what perspective this is coming from, and from which paradigm we're viewing this whole scene. like the way that guitar brought it to a close, and bong, it's so conclusive and so expressive at the same time. Things changed in this last section. Where do we go now? It became deeper, and we lost that feeling of, oh, sweet pain. It's more a question of, this took me to another world. This took me to another place. And I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but I think many of us have had the experience of, we see something, we travel down a path to memories and lives that we knew once, long ago. They don't exist anymore. They're so beautiful and special in our memory and in the way we remember the experiences. And then we kind of come out of that reverie, and there's this little bit of, what do I do now? I'm a bit disoriented. What to do now? I mean, that world is gone. I would love to go back there, but it's gone. Where do we go now? Where do we go now? And this question, where do we go now? Where do we go now? It's like we've come back to the present. Where do we go now? And it leaves me wondering, so much of this felt as if it was happening in the moment, in the child's presence, sweet child of mine. But as I got to the end, through this, where do we go now, where do we go now, I began to think, this kind of changes the perspective a bit more. Now I'm looking at a photo of this child. She's all grown up now. And I don't know, this picture just takes me back to when she was little, even to when I was young. But even she doesn't exist like this anymore. And so I put the picture down. Where do we go now? Sweet child of mine. Where did she go? Where did time go? Where did all of that go? It's really quite an emotional journey, isn't it? And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm left wondering, what is it? What is it that the guitarist hated so much that made him sick? I like it, but I hate what it represents. Perhaps it's that I felt at the end. I hate that it represents that those times and those experiences, and that time in a child's life is gone. I've grown. She's grown. They've grown. Gone on. Their lives have become the lives of adults in this world as it is. That time in a child's life is so precious, so beautiful, and it's especially precious because not all children have that time, but to know that your child, or that you, had that experience, had that time, and then you can go back to it. You can't ever go back to it truly, but you can go back and relive it in your memory for a bit. But then there's always this coming out of the memory, and well, we're here. We're in this place where we are now, and that's just a photo. Sweet child of mine. I suppose I'll come to those days myself, because I'm the mother of a little girl myself now. Well, as far as the music goes, other than how it's taking me into these images and these ideas and all, more specifically, technically, musically, there's some things I really appreciated about it too. And one of them is how we're going along in this environment, this mood, this reverie, this moment of viewing this sweet child. And then it comes to quite a sudden stop, doesn't it? And it's a drastic change, because there's been a pretty constant flow of sound throughout, whether it's instrumental or vocal or a mix, and then it comes to a hard stop. It's as if that is the moment at which we're brought back to the present. And it's abrupt, and we feel it, we feel it. And that is the moment at which we start hearing, where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go? It's such a great transition and such a great way of kind of changing our perspective of the piece. Remember at the beginning, I said, I feel like I'm sitting on the porch with a little child running out the door, standing by my knee. And now suddenly, whew, this was so many years ago. And I felt that strongly, especially as the entire sound quality of the music changed when we get to where do we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go? The guitar solo. Beautiful. You know what I appreciated about it is that, and it also got me thinking, so many of these great guitar solos, the ones that become timeless, that become recognized as incredible, memorable, the greatest, or among the greatest, they have a common quality about them. One of the elements is melody. Okay, you can go crazy, you can be virtuosic, you can have wild fireworks. That's all great in the moment, and sometimes that's what the music needs. But if it's going to be something that's memorable and lasts for decades as a special thing, you wait for it in the music, it usually has a beautiful melodic shape to it. This one, I noticed two specific things about it beyond that. One is, it really drew on the melody of the song itself. And it was as if I could hear, sweet child of mine, sweet child of mine. The guitar was singing, sweet child of mine, sweet child of mine. And it was playing with this, it was shaping it, and it was as if I was, I don't know, kind of going through, seeing in my mind's eye, the sweet child doing different things, activities, different points of her life. Sweet child of mine, sweet child, here and here and here, a little bit different, but still the same child. And then it starts me on that journey. And then it starts singing a whoa, 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 just like the voice. A whoa, whoa, whoa. And you could hear the guitar singing a whoa, 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 whoa. And it took that to an intense climax. And it became the expression of all that is inexpressible within myself as I'm in this moment. That is a powerful thing. That is not an easy thing to do, to have an instrument, whether it's guitar, piano, harp, any instrument, distill and embody the essence of what is being expressed. To catch it so well. Well, the guitar, you know, it can sing this whoa, 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 kind of like the voice. It became its own voice. It became a continuation of this voice that has been singing the words. But to be able to get the instrument to take you somewhere where you forget that it's even an instrument. It becomes an expression of yourself, of your own experience, of this. It's just an incredible, powerful thing when a performer, a musician, and an instrument can combine to achieve that. And, well, it happened here in this song, and I understand now why it's considered one of the greatest, among the greatest guitar solos. Well, because it's incredible. It's not flashy fireworks. Oh, there was some good little finger work, but that's not what it's about. It's about the expression, the emotion, the passion, the outpouring of what we feel. And that's beautiful. That's memorable. And that is That's music. So, well, that was Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine. November Rain, Sweet Child of Mine. I've got to listen to some more of them, of course. So you'll see some more coming, and I'll see you soon.